What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I'd love to talk about all things Peloton cycling and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday, and today's video is a continuation from last week's video. It is going to be weeks 3 and 4 for the Straight to the Core program on Peloton with Rebecca Kennedy. 4-week core program, and last week I published weeks 1 and 2. So this is the video that's going to wrap up the program. I'll give you my thoughts on the next 2 weeks and also go over my final thoughts on the program. So with that, we can just get right on into week 3, day 1. It is now Tuesday morning and I took an extra rest day this weekend. I went on a hike with Chris on Saturday and I was still feeling it on Monday. So I was like, you know what? We'll take a chill day Monday. Get back at it at Tuesday. Thankfully, there's enough rest days in this program that it should be fine. I'll just have one less rest day next weekend. But now I am ready to start week 3. And when you go to press on week 3, it says, congrats on completing the first half of the program. In week 3, Rebecca adds a 30-minute class and the first advanced class of the program. So make sure to track your progress. Not loving the idea of a 30-minute class, but thankfully that is not today's class. Today's class is a 15-minute standing core strength class. The description is welcome to week 3. Today we take on 15 minutes of standing core with heavier weights, adding more rotation and focusing on stability. So I definitely feel like we're going to ramp it up a little bit more. But I still like standing core generally, so I feel like this should be a pretty good class, only 15 minutes. So let's hit the mat and knock out day 1, week 3 core class. For the most part, I liked that class. It was kind of all over the place, but I didn't necessarily think it was a bad thing. She kind of divided it into like different sections, and I'm not sure how cohesive the whole class was, but like each section was pretty cohesive. She said to grab 1 medium weight, 10 to 15 pounds. I grabbed 10, and 2 lightweights, 5 or under, which I grabbed 5. We honestly used the weights like pretty much the whole time. So the first section was kind of like different marching, holding the weight over your head and like moving your foot in different ways, and then also wood chops, which kind of went together randomly, I think, but like I didn't mind it. Then we went into like kind of a more typical standing core section, in my opinion. Like we did like standing crunches, standing bicycles, alternating toe touches. Then we went more into like a deadlift section. We were doing like single leg deadlifts with rotations and bird dogs. We did the dumbbell sumo squat again, where we were in a sumo squat, did like oblique crunches and then cross crunches, and man, that was a hard section. And then we finished it off with some boxing. So we were doing like some kicks and then going to the ground, and then also just like typical like punching boxing, which I haven't done that in a while, and it was actually kind of fun. And it was interesting because we held the 5-pound weight, so definitely like harder than doing no weight boxing. So overall, I like the class. Difficulty, I'd give it maybe like a 6 out of 10. I didn't think it was super hard. And we actually had like a decent amount of recovery because we were switching in between sections so much that like she had to show us the next move. So we had to have some recovery. Enjoyability, I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I actually thought this class was fairly enjoyable. And since we did like switch through these sections so much, it felt like it went by pretty quickly, especially because 15 minutes a core, it's starting to get up there. So definitely a good way to start off the week. And I'm excited for the rest of the week. It is now Wednesday morning and we're ready for week 3, day 2. And at first I was looking at it and I was like, oh, this is great because it's only a 10-minute core strength class. Like that's pretty short. The classes are definitely getting longer in this program. So we love a 10-minute day. But then I realized it was tagged advanced, and the description is Rebecca challenges us to level up in the last 2 weeks by including the first advanced class of the program. Get your dumbbells and let's hit the mat for the half Turkish Get-Up, which I'm not in love with the Turkish Get-Ups, and I'm also worried about an advanced class. Usually in advanced classes, I just kind of struggle with following along, but we'll see. I'm going in with an open mind in this one, and it's only 10 minutes, so we can do anything for 10 minutes. Let's go hit the mat and knock out week 3, day 2. When we started the class today, Rebecca is like, this class is going to be fun because we're just going to roll around on the floor. And I would say that was a fairly accurate description of what this class was. Definitely a lot of not typical core moves, in my opinion, but it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I thought it was kind of fun, but it was just kind of like you were rolling around. So we started off, we kind of had like two separate sets. So the first move, you were in a plank and then you would like almost go into like child's pose without putting your knees down. Like you moved your butt back and then you'd like shoot forward, do a push up, then do a lunge and lift up your like abdomen, which is like the actual core part of the move. It was a very interesting move. She called it a prowler push up. And then we did half Turkish get-ups just on the floor, which was kind of nice because last time when we did the full Turkish get-up, I was definitely confused, but this broke it down a little bit more. And this we did have a weight. She said to grab medium 10 to 20. I grabbed a 10 and thought that it was good. And you didn't have to move your legs at all on this one. You're just kind of like going up and down on your arm and then like pushing up your hips. It was interesting. And we repeated that set of doing like the prowler push-up and Turkish get-ups on both sides twice. And then the rest of the class was kind of like more of rolling around on the ground. So we did these like crab flips and bear kick throughs, which we did in the last class that was like this. So you're like in crab position and then you're like flipping around and then you're like alternating foots and like doing a kick through. It sounds kind of complicated and it is, but once you like get it, I found it to be easier. And like she did spend a lot of time explaining it. So I do think I got the move mostly right, but you're kind of just like rolling around. And I'm not sure exactly like how much core there is in it. I definitely feel like I used my core, but it wasn't like my core was like really, really turned on or like it was a super intense core class. Like I didn't feel like I was burnt out at the end, but that could also be that it was only 10 minutes. Definitely an interesting one. For enjoyability, I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It was like fun because it wasn't your typical core class, which I don't really like. So I guess that was good. Difficulty, I'd give like a 5 out of 10. But I could be doing the moves wrong. But I'm just really not sure. I didn't think it was that difficult of a class though. The most difficult part was doing the moves correctly and just like figuring out what she was trying to get you to do. But I do feel like she took it at a good pace, so it wasn't like super hard to do. And I'm interested to see where the rest of the week takes us now. It's now the next day. It's Thursday morning and we have week 3, day 3, which is class 3 of the week. And it's a shorty. It's only a 10-minute core strength workout, which is always nice. The description is, in this week's Add a Trick, the base move is the hollow body. Rebecca introduces 4 new movements and we end with the 1-minute AMRAP finisher. And I remember I did not like this class from last week, but we'll give it a try. It kind of makes me nervous. The base move is hollow body. That's definitely like one of my weakest moves. And I feel like I get really demotivated in that pose very quickly. But, you know, we'll see, going in it with a positive attitude. So let's hit the mat. It's only 10 minutes and knock out this core strength class. This class was definitely not my favorite, but it wasn't as bad as last week's, I think. I like was really unhappy during last week's, but this class I thought was maybe a little bit better. I think one thing she did that I really liked is the base move was a hollow body, but we like changed it a little bit each time. But we did have to hold it for 50 seconds, which was pretty rough. So the first time it was like just hollow body, but then the second time it was like flutter kick, and then the third time it was like scissor kick. Like we mixed it up a little bit. After the base move of flutter kick, the A, B, C, D moves were forearm plank, plank hip dip, standing dumbbell crunch, and then twisting mountain climber. And the forearm plank, we had to hold the weight in between our legs. She said to grab a medium weight, so like 10 to 20 pounds. I grabbed 10. Definitely amps up the pressure of the plank a little bit. And for the hollow body holds, we also held the weight, which honestly I think makes it a little bit easier. I don't know if it's in my head, but I feel like it gives me like a little bit better of balance. But I don't know, that could be made up. But for now, I'm going to keep believing that it's easier to hold a weight while I do a hollow body. And then at the end, we had a 1-minute AMRAP with a twisty mountain climber and then a bicycle. We did 4 twisty mountain climbers and then 8 bicycles. So overall, it like wasn't a horrible class. Lots of repeat because you do like base A, base AB, base ABC, and then base ABCD. And not a lot of recovery at all, but I like kind of knew more what to expect going in. So I feel like when the expectations are already low, like as long as the class is okay, I'm not like that upset. So enjoyability, I give it like a 5 out of 10. I mean, it wasn't that enjoyable, but it wasn't awful. Difficulty, I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10 if you're really taking no breaks. But for me, I mostly just like transitioned slowly, gave myself like maybe a 10-second break in between each move. So then for me, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 for difficulty. I feel kind of bad because it is like cheating myself because I'm like taking these breaks when she's not giving it to me, but I honestly like can't not take the break. So I don't know. Overall, it was not a bad day though, and only 10 minutes. And I don't know if it's like just in my mind, but I honestly do feel like I'm getting more defined abs. Like when I'm working out, I notice it in the mirror. But I don't know if it's because I'm like thinking that I should be having more defined abs now that I've been doing this for like 2.5 weeks. But I do feel like I should like be seeing some results because we have been doing core 5 days a week for 2.5 weeks. So that is it for today, and tomorrow is a 30-minute class, which definitely makes me nervous, so I'm gonna rest up real good for that. It is now Friday morning, it is week 3, day 4, and today is the big boy. We have a 30-minute core strength workout on the schedule, which is the longest that we've done. I think we've only done like one 20-minute as well. So it's definitely going to be a stretch today. The description is this 30-minute progressive core workout features movements that progress with variations and weight. So very broad. I actually didn't mind how she structured her 20-minute class. So hopefully it's similar. But I am worried. 30 minutes of core sounds like a lot. But you know, it's Friday. Let's kick off the weekend with a bang and let's go hit the mat and knock out this core class. I did it. I survived the 30-minute core class, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. We had a 2-minute body weight warm up, which is always nice considering we don't usually get warm ups. But I guess, you know, today we had 30 minutes. We had the time, and then we got into it, and she's like, oh, you're never going to do the same move twice. Which is true, but essentially it was like one big set of 14 moves, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. And then we repeated that set, but like slightly modified the moves. So for example, like one of the moves, we were doing side planks and then we'd like go into a normal plank and switch to the other side. And then the second time we repeated it, we added like hip dips as well. It made it like a compound move, spiced it up a little bit. Sometimes we like added weights, basically just made it like a little more interesting. And I really like this class because 45 seconds on, but 15 seconds off. And we got that recovery every single minute. So I feel like for the most part, I was actually able to do the move for the 45 seconds and then like take the recovery she's giving me, but then give my all during the move, which I appreciate because I feel like with the shorter classes, I guess it is because they are shorter that she doesn't want to give us a ton of recovery and she wants to get like the most out of the 10 minutes. But then I just feel like it's like way too hard to keep up and I get demotivated. So I felt like this had enough recovery. I was feeling pretty good. I like that we repeated the moves and like added a little something extra the second time. It kept it interesting and that the class kind of just kept moving. Like you always knew 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. What's the next move? And I don't feel like it felt like it like dragged on. Honestly, I've taken some of her 10 and 15-minute classes that felt longer because I didn't like how they were structured. But today's class, 2 thumbs up to me. I give it like a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for enjoyment, which is very high for me for core. But I did really like this class. I just feel like it moved well. Difficulty, I'd give it like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 because you do get recovery, which is nice. And one other thing that I really liked is that we kind of like went in a circle. We would start with our stomachs facing down, then like do side and oblique work and then go on our backs and then like do the other side and then go back to our stomach. And I feel like since we were doing this rotation, it never felt like we were really burning out like one specific area of our core. So then it didn't feel that hard, even though I do think it was like a really good workout and we like targeted a lot of different areas. So very happy with today's class, a good way to wrap up week 3, day 4, and we just got one more day in the week left. It is now Saturday morning, and I'm not gonna lie, I am in a food coma from last night still. For some reason, whenever we eat kebabs, like That just really sits with me. So this workout's gonna be interesting because I just couldn't eat breakfast this morning. I had coffee, but I was like, I'm so full from last night, and I haven't done a workout without eating before it in a really long time. So we'll see how this goes. I think it'll be okay. And today's class is a 15-minute core strength class. Last class in the week, and the description is, with one more week to go, Rebecca continues to build on our progress by focusing on the benchmark test, intensity and durations as we prepare for our final week. That last thing is like not a sentence. There's some grammar that's wrong there, which is interesting, but I am ready for the last class, and I hope that it's like last week, and it sounds like it will be, where we do some benchmark things to, feel good, feel like we are building the core strength. So let's go and knock out this 15-minute core strength class. That 15-minute core class was pretty good. We did some interesting moves. We started off in a bear plank, but you had one arm to the side, and man, oh man, that was really hard. So you only had like one hand, and the hand was supposed to be where it normally is in a bear plank, so it wasn't like it was centered. So I was really struggling with balance. Definitely a move I don't think I've ever done before, but it was interesting and a challenge. And from there, we did some bird dogs, but like in a bear plank position. So that again was a little bit of a challenge. Repeated that whole set twice, which took a bit. We went into an AMRAP where we were doing like a plank walkout, then 2 plank pike touches on our feet. And then we did bicycles, but we like added bicycles each time. And I think we did that AMRAP like 3 times. So we started with 2 bicycles, then 4, then 6, then 8. I believe I got all the way up to 10. I think like halfway through 12. And she's like, if you did this, you could definitely hold a plank for a long time, because this is like a lot of burnout on your shoulders. And we did it for 3 minutes. So I can definitely see how she's working towards the benchmark class, which is really good. And it's not like just holding a plank, like it's more interesting than that. So I thought that that was cool. And we finished off with some V-ups again. So we got a minute on, minute off, and then minute on again. And she's like, yeah, basically try to beat what you did last time. Last time she set the goal of 30 and I didn't do 30. I think I did like 28 or 29 both times. This time I did 28 the first time, but then the second time after a minute of recovery, I got up to like 32. So I was feeling pretty proud, and I'm feeling ready, because I believe you're supposed to do 40 in 90 seconds for the benchmark test. So like I should be on track, that I should definitely be able to hit that, but we'll see when we get there. So a good way to wrap up week 3. Always feels good to know that we're like working towards this benchmark test, and like I can definitely see that my core is getting stronger. For difficulty, I'd give this class like a 7 out of 10. I think she gave us a little more recovery than normal. The AMRAP was a little killer though. And for enjoyability, I'd also give it like a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. Definitely like fairly enjoyable. It's still core, but I like the way it's structured. We did some cool like new moves, and it went by pretty quickly. So really no complaints there. And I'm definitely ready for my rest day tomorrow. It is now Monday morning, and I'm ready to start week 4 of this program. I can't believe we're already here. The description for week 4 is, we're finishing the program strong with a challenging week of longer classes, increased intensity, and a high energy finish. Are you ready to crush that final strength test? And I am ready. I'm excited to take the test at the end of the week, but we got a whole week of core before that. So today I'll be doing class 1, which is a 20-minute core strength class, tagged advanced, and the description is, welcome to week 4. We'll kick off our final week strong and celebrate our progress in this 20-minute advanced class. And I don't actually find the advanced classes like that much harder. They're just like more confusing to follow. I think we're going to be doing Turkish Get-Ups, which are not the worst. I'm just not the best at them. So, I think it'll be kind of a fun and interesting class. And that's all that's on the agenda for today. So let's go and knock out this core strength class. I feel like I was just okay with this class. I do think that the moves are kind of hard to do, and not because it involves a lot of core strength, they're just really new, which on one hand keeps things interesting, but then on the other hand, I'm not sure how effective like the workout was because I don't know if I was doing the move right. Like some of the moves I couldn't do at all. But we started off, we were focusing on the Turkish get-ups. We had a quick 1 minute warm up, which was like nothing. And then we did the half Turkish get-ups with I think she said medium weight. She said to do 15 to 30. I did 15 because you have to hold it above your head the whole time. It's basically like a shoulder press. So it's not like a easy thing to do. And 15 pounds is like pretty heavy for me for that. So we did half Turkish get-ups where we're essentially doing like the bottom part where we're slowly propping up on our arms and then pushing up our hips. And we did that on both sides. Then we did windmills, which essentially you're like kneeling and you're holding a weight above your head and you're going up and down, which works your obliques and is also like the second portion of a Turkish get-up. And we repeated that twice before going into full Turkish get-ups, which now at least I can do. Like I followed along well enough. Last time we tried to do the full ones, I was too confused, but this time I could get them. I just did them fairly slowly, but I did think they were like a good move to do. Definitely full body, but really focused on core. She also said this would be like a full body workout focused on core, which I completely agree with. Then we got into like easily my least favorite part of the class, kind of like the next section. And it was mostly because I'm not flexible to do these moves. You had to sit on the ground and keep your legs straight out like in a V and then do different core moves from there. But like with light weights, I had 5 pounds. And first we did like side bends, which honestly, even sitting up straight in that position is hard for me. She said you could sit on a block to like make it easier if you're not flexible. And I did try to do that and it was still hard. So I was trying to do the moves, but I don't think I was doing them like super effective. Then we basically did like crunches in that position. So we were like folding over our legs, which again, I cannot do. At this point, I just went like crisscross and did it because I could not keep my legs straight. And then finally, the last move was like lifting up both of your legs while also being in this position, which again, like I could not do. So I was pretty much just like floundering this whole section and we repeated it twice. And then we finally went into the last section, which she's like, this is going to be like rolling around on the floor. And it was, we like kept adding one more move to like this combo. So it took a while to work through. We started by like going into plank and then shifting backwards and like rolling back up. And then we added spider lunges. And then we added moves that I didn't like again. We like went back and went into a kick, which we've done before. We like throw our legs up and then kick to the side, which I just like struggle doing. I'm not sure if I like kick it right. And then our final move we added was like rolling over once we did a kick and like kind of being on our backs, but we were elevated kind of like a crab. I don't know. It was not my favorite. I'm not even sure what to give it for difficulty. Like difficulty on your core, I would give it like a 5 out of 10, mostly because I was not doing a lot of the moves right. And then for difficulty to follow, I would give it like an 8 out of 10. I like that we finally got the Turkish get-ups, and I get that for stuff like this, you just have to keep practicing, but I just felt like I was not hitting a lot of the moves today. And then enjoyability, I give it like a 5 out of 10. I really enjoyed the Turkish get-up part actually, but then it kind of went bad for me, especially the time that we had to sit in a V, like missing all the moves and like not being able to feel like you're getting an effective workout is definitely like disappointing and it's not that enjoyable. I think this is the last time that we're going to be doing like advanced classes in this program though, so it can only go up from here hopefully. I just feel like I didn't get like that good of a workout from it because I couldn't hit the moves. So interesting day today, not my favorite, but at least we're not doing it anymore in this program. It is now Tuesday morning, so we're ready for week 4, day 2, which is class 2. It's a 15-minute core strength class, and the description is, this is the final add a trick class, and today's base move is a variation of the crunch. Duration increases as we add to the movements. Let's get to it. And I'm not a huge fan of the added trick moves, but I do feel like I do like crunches more than like hollow body holds or like isometric holds. So we'll go into it with an open mind, and no matter what, it's the last one in the program. So let's go hit the mat and knock out this 15-minute core class. No real surprise here, but that was not my favorite class. Definitely one of my least favorite in the program. And the format is the same as all the other trick classes. So we have like a base move, then move A, then you do base AB, base ABC, and we went all the way up to ABCDE, and no recovery at all the entire 15-minute class. So you're just going one to the other, no transition time. So that's like what I don't like the most. No warm up. And yeah, I just took a lot of recovery on my own because I don't know anyone that could do 15 minutes of core straight. But if you can, good for you. You're very, very in shape. And the moves themselves I thought were fine, like nothing horrible, but nothing great. The base move was some variation of a sit up, which I thought I would like more, but honestly, like it was just okay. Then move A were leg lifts where you're on your back and you had a weight overhead just to anchor you down. And you were supposed to like lower both legs in the middle and then on the right, on the left. And she said to really focus and keep your lower back on the floor. And I was definitely struggling during it. Sometimes I do moves and I'm like, wow, I can keep my lower back on the floor. Keeping my lower back on the floor is definitely like the biggest thing I struggle with in core. And throughout this program, some moves we do, and I'm like, wow, I can really tell my core is getting stronger because my back is on the floor. And then I do a move like this where my back is way off the floor, it's way bent, and I'm just like, oh no. Then after that, move B was doing essentially like V-ups with a weight in between your leg, a lightweight, 5 pounds or under. I was using 5 pounds. That move was like pretty hard. You essentially like rocked back and forth. Really no complaints about that move, but also not a huge fan. Then we did dead bug with 2 5-pound weights in our hands. That was fine. She said to lift your head and chest off the floor if you wanted to make it harder, but I did not want to make it harder because we're getting no recovery. And then we did bird dog with 5-pound weights, and we finished off by going in a plank in forearm position and then scooting our feet closer to our arms. So like going in a V and then doing the reverse and then doing hip dips on each side. We only did that once though because it was move E. That was kind of like a weird and random move in my opinion, but like no complaints with that move. Overall, I didn't have a lot of beef with the moves specifically. I just had beef with no warm up and absolutely no recovery. I just feel like it's so unrealistic and then I get super demotivated. But the only good news is we are done with those types of classes for this program, so I will not have to do one again for a little bit, which is always good. And yeah, today difficulty, if you took no breaks, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10 difficulty. If you took breaks like I did, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 difficulty. I really tried to keep the breaks to a minimum, but you know, sometimes I just gotta take them. And then enjoyability, I'd give it like a 3 out of 10. I did not enjoy it at all. I just don't like classes structured this way. And then like I knew that going in, so I feel like it was just not a good class for me overall. But you know what? We got through it. We did it. And I do feel myself getting stronger. So there is a method to this madness. Just today really made me doubt it. It is now Wednesday morning and I'm ready for our last 30-minute core strength class. The description is the finish line is in sight. Our final 30-minute workout focuses on endurance by increasing the amount of time spent in each move. And yes, the finish line is in sight. We're so close to wrapping this program. And today will definitely be hard. 30 minutes is a long time, but I'm ready. I also am drinking an energy drink this morning, which I don't typically do, but I do have coffee, so it's not like I never drink caffeine, but I'm feeling very hype, lots of energy, so hopefully that'll help me work through this 30-minute class. I am a little nervous about holding the moves even longer, but you know, we'll see. I'll go in with an open mind, so let's hit the mat and knock out this 30-minute core class. I really enjoyed approximately the first 24 minutes of class, and then the last 6 minutes I absolutely hated. So we started out, and the last time we did a 30-minute class, we did 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off of 14 moves, and then like repeated that and did like some modifications the second time to make it harder. So essentially you're just doing like one mega set. And at the beginning of the class, she was like, it's going to be similar, but we're going to do a minute on, 15 seconds off, 9 moves and repeat it twice and do modifications the second time to make it harder. And I'm like, okay. sounds reasonable. I like the structure of the class because I need recovery, and a lot of her other classes, she doesn't give any. So it's good because I feel like I can actually take the 15 seconds and like that's all I need and get back into it and like hit the moves. And we also did oblique moves on sides. So we repeated some of the moves. So it was like kind of a slow moving class. Like we were doing different moves, but we spent a minute in each move, and sometimes we did it on both sides, which I like because I like the time to really get into position, really feel like I'm doing it right. So we went through a bunch of different moves, some weighted, some not. I'm not going to go through all of them just because there's a lot, but we did like plank pike reaches, we did oblique crunches, hip bridges. We really did a good mix of like things on our belly, things on our back, things on our sides. And I feel like this is where I like Rebecca the most. But after the first set, it only took 12 minutes and I was like, oh no, because there's no warm up. So I was already doing the math in my head that I'm like, there's going to be time at the end and like, what are we going to do? Because there wasn't just like time at the end last time. And then, yeah, I just hated the end. Essentially, she just added like a 5-minute random core class where we got no recovery and we were just doing like random moves the whole time. So we started with like a hand release push-up, then bicycles, scissor kicks, crunches, and no recovery at all during this time. And I just feel like it like really ruined the class for me because I had a good like first 25 minutes, which I guess it's good that at least I enjoyed the majority of the class. Like I'm glad she didn't start with this like really hard set with no recovery. But again, I just get so demotivated when there's not rest. I feel like I've said this 1,000 times and I should know to expect it with Rebecca, but we started out so high and then it went so low. But you know, I still finished the class and I did enjoy the beginning. For difficulty, I would give it like a 7 out of 10. I didn't think it was super difficult because you did get that recovery at the beginning. And then the last 5 minutes, I just took a bunch of recovery anyways because she wasn't going to give it to us. And then enjoyability, I'd literally give like the first 25 minutes a 9 out of 10 for enjoyability. I was like really liking the way it was structured. I feel like there was not a lot of burnout because we kept rotating what we were focusing on and the moves were interesting. And then I literally give the like last portion a like 3 out of 10 for enjoyability. It was such a letdown because I was enjoying the class so much. So overall, I give it like a 6 out of 10 for enjoyability. Like I really think that the last portion messed it up a lot for me. But that is it for today. And at least we won't be doing another 30-minute core class. Honestly, the way that she structures them, besides the ending, is not that bad. And like, she does acknowledge that she's like, I know you need recovery for 30 minutes. And like, I know you're not going to be doing like Tabata or going all out for 30 minutes. And like, I prefer that more compared to like really, really hard short classes to kind of like take the time and learn the move correctly and like do the move for a whole minute. There's 2 days left, so we are rapidly approaching this benchmark test, but I'm feeling pretty good about it, especially after today. I felt like some of the minute holds were easier, which is always a good thing. It is now the next morning. It's Thursday morning and we're so close to wrapping up this program. Today's the last day before the benchmark. We will be doing class 4, which is a 15-minute core strength class. And the description is we're focusing on the strength test movements in this 15-minute class, but we bring it down a notch so we're fresh heading into the final stretch. And I'm excited. Sounds like it should be a little chill today and hopefully a little preview of the benchmark test tomorrow. And it's only 15 minutes, which at this point in the program is a short class. So let's hit the mat and knock out this final 15-minute core strength class. Today's class was very chill, like promised, which I appreciated. There was a good amount of recovery. We kind of just moved slowly through things. It was nice to have not a super intense day, considering tomorrow is our benchmark test to see our progress. But we still got like a core workout in. I still thought it was a good class. I essentially feel like it's everything she'd do in a 10-minute class. But then there was recovery, so then it was a 15-minute class. So we got to move a little bit slower, but we hit a little bit of everything. We did some planks, some side work, some hollow body holds, but we hit pretty much everything. We had like 3 sets and one focused on like when you're facing down, one was when you're on the back, and the other were your sides. So I feel like we got a good amount of work in. The first set was focused on your obliques and your sides. So we did bird dogs, we did a high side plank, we did some bear crawls, and we also did a clamshell, which we haven't done this entire program, but I actually really like that move. So like no complaints there. It definitely works your side, but I think it feels really good. Then we did this like mini set where for 15 seconds you were doing a forearm plank, then 15 seconds a high plank, and then 15 seconds mountain climber, but then you got 15 seconds recovery. So it felt very nice. And I kind of like that because you were kind of flowing and it wasn't too intense and you got good recovery, but it still felt like a good compound move, like really some burnout in the shoulders. And then we finished up with some hip bridges, which I really like those too. So I feel like this was a really great class for me. Definitely nice because I haven't been loving the core this week or really this entire program. So it's nice to kind of end on a high note. And I know that tomorrow will be nice with the benchmark test. At the end of this class, we actually did very slow V-ups. She's like, this is so you know you can do them without like trying to just use force to do it, like essentially you're using the muscles and not momentum, which did make it harder, but it was an interesting way to end it. And it also like made me feel good. I can definitely do it. I'm ready to kill the benchmark tomorrow. So today's class, I would give like a 9 out of 10 for enjoyability. I actually really, really enjoyed it. Amazing when you do moves I like and you give recovery. I'm a happy camper. And for difficulty, I give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Definitely not the most difficult. Like she owned up to that, lots of recovery, but good vibes and still a good workout. Like it's not like we were doing nothing during the 15 minutes class. And if I took that class 4 weeks ago, I definitely would have thought it was hard. It's just at this point, we've done so much core that like I'm stronger now and like I can feel like this class is easier. So definitely a good second to last day. And I'm very excited to wrap up the program tomorrow. Today is the day. It's Friday morning and I can't believe this is the end of the program. These last 4 weeks have really flown by. And we actually have 2 classes on the docket today, which is a little weird in my opinion. The first class is a 20-minute standing core strength class. The description is, we trust our training and celebrate our success as we move along to the rhythm of the beat in this fun standing core celebration. So I'm hoping that it will just be easy. I think it will be. I think Rebecca knows the vibe based off of yesterday's class to not do something super hard, because right afterwards we're taking the 10-minute strength test. The description is, we finished the program with this 10-minute strength test. We put in the work preparing for this moment and now it's time to see how much progress you make. And I'm so excited. I'm feeling pretty confident. I definitely can get more V-ups. I don't know about the hollow body hold, but I will try my best. And I'm really excited that this is like the culmination of what we've kind of been working towards for the last 4 weeks. And yeah, let's just hit the mat and knock out these 2 last core strength classes. I did it. I finished the program and I'm very proud of myself because if you haven't heard, core is not my favorite. So the fact that I could stick to this for 4 weeks, do all the classes, I didn't love all of them. It still feels really, really good. Especially the benchmark test went well. Obviously, I got stronger. So just feeling very happy and proud of myself for sticking with this program right now. We started out with that 20-minute standing core strength class and it was a little silly. I did have fun though. It was essentially just like a cardio dance class, but then like the cardio moves were core. But she's just like, yeah, it's like a celebration. We were doing a lot of stuff on the beat. Like it was mostly a cardio dance class. My heart rate was way higher than normal. It was kind of like Zumba. We really did such an array of movements all to the beat. I don't even know like how to describe it. We did a lot of like sumo squats where we'd like squat to the beat and then like do side bends. We also did like some more basic moves like bicycle crunches, but it was all like to the beat and like, I don't know, I just feel like Rebecca was being silly in it, which made it fun. I don't know if it was my favorite thing to do just because we did use weights for a lot of the moves. We used light weights, 5 pounds for things like bicycle crunches. We also did some like boxing moves that used light weights. And then we also grabbed one medium weight. I used 15 pounds for things like wood chops. We also did good mornings with them. Like this was also still a workout. It wasn't the hardest thing ever. And like, you could obviously do whatever you wanted during this. So like sometimes I went slower even if it wasn't on the beat, but it was still like a workout and I didn't get burnout from it. But 20 minutes is kind of a long time before getting into the benchmark test. And like all I want to do is take the benchmark test. Enjoyability, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. I would have preferred to take it either yesterday to like be in a celebratory mood for today, or taking it after the benchmark test and maybe had it only be like 10 minutes just because it was a fun class. I just don't know how I feel about it in like relation to the other classes. And difficulty, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10, not necessarily for your core, but you're definitely moving and grooving and like the beat was fairly fast and we went through a lot of moves. So it was still a lot of fun, but it's not like some super easy class. But again, it wasn't like also some like 15-minute advanced core strength class. Like we've done harder in this program. Then we went over to the 10-minute strength test, which is, what I was waiting for. And we did the same moves as we did last time, which was a plank for 90 seconds, a hollow body hold for 60 seconds, 2 side planks on either side for 60 seconds each, and then V-ups for 90 seconds. And my original results were actually like not that bad in my opinion. I could hold the plank and the side planks for the max amount of time without any kind of modification, which Rebecca says no modifying. But I am happy to report that I got my hollow body hold from 30 seconds up to 60 seconds. It was definitely a struggle. I was definitely shaking at the end, but I'm really impressed that I saw that much improvement. And she also was like, oh, you probably like disliked hollow body holds more at the beginning of the program than now, which is true because we've just done them for so long that like they're still not my favorite, but they're not like absolutely horrible, which is kind of how I felt about them before. So you could see that like my attitude has kind of changed too, which I thought was interesting. And I think it is just because like I'm stronger, so they're easier. But I was very excited about that accomplishment. And then for V-ups in the original test, I got 29 and this time I got 44, which I was also very happy with that. We've definitely worked on V-ups like a lot in this program, so it makes sense, but it was still very cool to see like a 50% increase from my base core strength 4 weeks ago. And then the class was over, and enjoyability, I'd give it like a 8 out of 10. I mean, you're still doing core strength, but it felt really good to be like hitting these new numbers. And difficulty, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 as well, because like you should be trying very hard. If you don't think this is difficult, you're not trying hard enough. But then the program was over and that's it. It's kind of weird because it's like, where do I go from here? I actually am going to Europe for like a month right after this program ends. So I'll probably have to come back and like start some other core program. But I think if I was going to keep on exercising, I would transition into the hardcore on the floor core workouts like 4 or 5 days a week, because I definitely would want to keep my core strength. I think that would be a good continuation. I'm not sure what I'll do when I come back. Probably some sort of other core program to like whip me into shape, but I definitely see that I had a lot of improvement over these 4 weeks. And that makes sense because I put a lot more time into core than I usually do in the past 4 weeks. So my final thoughts on this program, I'm actually pretty split, and I feel like I'm also editing the last month now, so I kind of have been listening to my opinions throughout. And this program definitely has its ups and downs. Like some weeks I feel like I'm way more positive about it compared to like this week where I really didn't like a lot of the classes we did. And I don't know, for me, I don't see myself taking this program again. Never say never, but I think that at the end of the day, I would prefer to stick to more typical core moves, but I don't regret taking it. So I would say if you're thinking about taking this program, as long as you are in it and you're okay with kind of like weird core moves or you want something that's different than the typical core class, then I would highly recommend it. Just be prepared for it. There is a lot of rolling around on the ground. You know, there's standing core, there's Pilates focused core. So just know you're going to get a little bit of everything. I think it does keep it interesting. I would also note that it does become quite a time commitment, especially in like the third and fourth week when you start ramping up the amount of time you're doing core. And especially because she kind of expects you to come into it not cold. So she kind of expects you to take a warm up or do something else before it. And then also, if you want to do any stretching at the end, that's going to add even more time to this program. So just keep that in mind that at the beginning, I thought that this would kind of be a low time commitment. And it is for like the first week or two, but it really starts to ramp up at the end. But I will say I got results. If you're looking for something to kind of whip you into shape, I would definitely recommend this. I really came into it without working out my core a lot. Like I had just got off the marathon. I hadn't been doing strength seriously for a while. So I feel like this kind of committed me into doing that and like locked me into a program that I can't get out of. Even with the hardcore on the floor, like I can find myself making excuses not to do it. But for some reason, the program really gets me. Like there's the classes, you have to take them. And if you don't take them, like you're going to miss them when the week is over. So I do feel like that motivated me to keep on doing the core, which at the end helped me. My only other complaint about the program, and some people might like it, is that it is repetitive, which like programs should be, so it's not really a valid complaint. But for example, like the add a trick classes that I weren't a fan of, like we were doing those every week. And it's the same where like I did really like the standing core classes and it was nice to know you would do that every week. But if you don't like standing core, like we're going to do that every week. So just something to keep in mind that you might not love all the classes because a lot of them are like pretty different, but you're still locked into doing them unless if you're just going to like skip them. So that's kind of all of my final thoughts. I've actually never made videos on the Emma Lovewell's Crush Your Core programs, but I've done both of them. And I kind of want to go back and take those again because those, as I recall, are like way more typical core. Like you're doing a lot of bicycles, a lot of planks, kind of less out there core. So if you don't want to do things that is like rolling around on the ground or really complicated moves, I definitely recommend checking out those programs. I do appreciate that they have both. Like it's perfect. Maybe you like both of them and you alternate between the two. And that reminds me of one last thing that I don't know how much you would get out of repeating this program like back to back because the first 2 weeks are a lot easier and then it does ramp up. So on one side, it could be nice because you'd kind of get a break and then ramp up again. But on the other side, if you just want to keep increasing your core strength and like keep doing more difficult classes, then I think that you would like regress a little bit when you did the easier classes again. But that is pretty much all of my thoughts. Let me know if you've taken this program. If so, how did your benchmark test go? I am very impressed that she got me up from a 30-second to a 60-second hollow body hold because those are definitely not my favorite. And overall, I have like pretty positive feelings about this program. But let me know your opinion. I would be very, very curious. I kind of see a very mixed bag on like the Facebook group and on the Reddit. It's always really interesting to read what other people think. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!